3, 2, 1, go!
Hey everybody, Aaron here. Welcome back to another anime review. Today, we're looking at an anime series / a live action series in the form of Alice in Borderland. Now, I had to think about this for a long time, guys and girls. How would I do a review for both of these things? Because I don't want this to be a 30-minute long review. I want it to be around 10 minutes, even if that. And also, I will warn you guys, there are spoilers for the entire show. Not per se so much the second season. I'm going to kind of keep the spoilers for second season light just in case you haven't watched it, or you started the first season, forgot there was a second season, or maybe you just wanted a reason to get back into it because, you know, I kind of want to talk about it too. But I will say I will not avoid everything from the first season because there are some major stuff that you kind of need to talk about to even talk about the second season, and I do want to plan to review the whole thing. This will be the shortest anime review, though, I'll tell you right now. This is OVA by Silverlink. It is a very mediocre anime. It's 3 episodes long. There's no opening song. Well, kind of is an opening song, kind of. And there is an ending song, which is more musical based. It's okay. It's not great. It's not, that bad. This is like a 5 out of 10. If I had to give it an actual review, obviously I'm going to give this a D+. Yeah, I haven't given anything really a bad review in a while. My biggest reason for giving this such a low score, it's not the animation. The animation is stellar for this. It's very well done. The character designs are very well done. I want to give this a higher review. Reason, again, though, for me disliking this is not per se entirely because I did not think it was a good anime. Because I know you say you hear D+ and you think, oh my god, it's horrible. No. I feel like this was more promotional material, and that's one of my biggest gripes with it. This was meant, I feel like, to either sell the manga or sell the live action adaptation, because this is too short. This barely gets into some of the major games. It does, I think, the first 3, and it has a kind of like more focus on the manga than the live action, because live action skips some stuff and changes some stuff. Obviously, I'm not going to get too much into the lore of that, but this was not well done because of that. So they skip a lot of stuff. They entirely cut out things. This is a very short, like, here's the series, get into it from either reading the manga or watching the live action. This to me screams, hey, we need to make some money off of this series. I did not want to, don't get me wrong, again, if you watch it, it's not horrible. It's very solid by itself. It's okay. It's got some nice animation. I know those kind of, by the way, those seem different. It's hard to me just to bash something. That's why I don't want to really bash it. But, and I got this for like $5, so it was to me, it's not horrible in that sense, but I have a lot of issues with it. So, I will say, avoid the anime unless you really want to watch the anime. Maybe after watching the thing of the series live action, which I did. Avoid this though, because this is, you can read the manga, you can just rewatch the first couple episodes of the live action, and you'll get the same amount of detail as this is. So let's now talk about the actual live action, because that I want to talk about, because that's a whole different ballgame. So in case you guys don't know what Alice in Borderland is, and that was the reason why I really didn't explain it too much with that, because I don't want to really associate it to it. It's more the live action I want to talk about today. And by the way, I'm going to be using my phone only because I want to look up the names, because I keep forgetting their names for some reason, and I've done this video multiple times and messed up their names each time for some reason. I don't know why. So the main character is Arsu. His character, he is with 3 friends. I think it was a Segwa. Is it Segwa? And I want to say the other one is Karube. So I can't remember their names. They are like the 3 best friends. They're like almost the 3 amigos. They really get along with one another. They are wild because for the most part, they all have these very strange quirks. Like Arsu, for example, is kind of a shut-in. I don't want to say dropped out of school, but mostly hasn't really gone to school in a long time, ever since his mom's death, which caused him a kind of friction with his family, because his dad looks at him like a loser. His brother looks at him like the same way. But his friends, for the most part, understand where he's coming from. They understand that there's a lot of potential hidden in him, because Arsu is actually very smart. That's one thing you'll learn about it in the series. He's not a stupid person. He's actually very smart. He's very calculated. He's also very clever when it comes to things, thinking quickly on his feet. When panic strikes, he thinks every step ahead of what he needs to do. He's smart. He's a very smart dude, and that's kind of what the main premise of the show is for him. But anyways, at one point, all 3 of the characters get sent to a alternate version of Tokyo, when just out of nowhere they see fireworks in the sky, they run away from the cops, and then 2 seconds later they find out that Tokyo's completely abandoned. There's no one there. And I believe it starts off actually technically Shibuya, so we'll talk about Shibuya though. And so they now are figuring out what happened to everyone, what's going on. And at first, they actually kind of enjoy it. They see this place as a freedom. You know, they all have these problems at the work. They all have problems with life, and they go, you know what, this might be the best way to handle things from here on out for a little bit. But they quickly realize this is not the Shibuya they knew from before. When all of a sudden at night, they are told to go to a game of sorts. And when they go to that game, they meet other players and realize that these are not fun little games that you win prizes and money from, but a means of surviving in this place called the Borderlands. Now, the main premise of Borderlands is pretty simple for the most part. It's like almost like a death/survival game type scenario. So think of like Squid Games or like type of things like that. If you win the games in Borderlands, you actually are able to advance by having a visa that you can use to stay alive in the world for a little while without having to worry about playing more games for like a few days. Gives you kind of a brief like respite from everything. But eventually you do have to play more games, and the whole premise is to get cards, which the cards are various cards from, you know, actual playing cards. And when you get them all, apparently there's a whole thing of where they don't know at first what happens if they win every single card. Do they get to go home? You know, do they get freedom? Do they get money? Do they get something? Because they learn they're not alone in this place. There are other players, obviously, but the main thing of fear is the fact that if you die in the game, that's it. You're just dead. You know, this is not like a video game. You will actually feel pain. You do die, etc. So they realize that this is not a fun and exciting place that they might have thought. Food rots very quickly in this world. Time seems to escalate even faster, where buildings start becoming overgrown with plants and vegetation. You know, and there's even live animals that are running around because they're now free from the zoos and free from their own places. And the jungles have kind of overgrown Tokyo in general. You know, we don't really ever see anything outside of, well, let's say Tokyo in general, or Japan. We only see bits and pieces of it. We know that there's other areas that might exist in the Borderland, but we're not sure about them. One of the characters at one point is adventuring and realizes, oh crap, this place is completely changed. It's not the one that she knows. It is like there's mountain regions and everything else. It's very crazy. But the first season is just, you know, the main character Arsu with his friends. Things happen. Not gonna spoil that part, but things happen, and it leaves him with just one other friend that he gets with. And again, I'm not gonna, that part I won't spoil. That's because that's all fun to kind of watch yourself. The game. So the first season though is all about games. It's essentially just the main focus is these little tiny games like hide and seek, tag, but they all have like deadly consequences. You find out there's other players in it that actually do care about killing people, and you know, obviously it's real life to some degree. You have people that will abuse people for, you know, no reason other than there's no law or order here except for just either survive, party up until you die, etc. The first season is actually probably my favorite season of Alice in Borderland. I think it's so well done. You know, the execution of characters, the execution of their backstories, how they interlock with one another, how they intertwine in certain parts of their character narrative. Very well done. That's why I'm going to say right now, it's by itself amazing. Season 2. There is a season 2, and there's actually going to be a season 3, which I get from the manga. It makes sense because the manga goes into a whole different sequel after the first major story goes in play. The season 2, I'm not going to go into too much in depth with that because that is a big spoiler, obviously, and I don't want to spoil it for the few that may not have seen it. It is on Netflix, by the way. You can watch the whole thing right now. And like I said, I think season 3 is supposed to be slated for the next year or two coming out, and it probably will be just like this one. Will be probably like 10 episodes or something like that, or 8 episodes. I forget if it was 8 or 10, but season 2 is very good. It's more of the same as the first season, mind you, because it's a game. Again, it's about games, but these games are a little bit bigger scale. Like it's where one of them is legit. The whole area of Shibuya is his game where he's killing people left and right. You have another one which is like a group of people are playing like almost another version of tag, but it's a little bit altered where you get points based off, you know, when you tag someone, if they have more points than you win. If they have more less points, etc., you lose. It's a little more detailed, and I don't want to get into that, but it's good. The second season is very good. I don't think it's as strong as the first season, and the ending. If you've never read the manga, I did read the manga. I love the manga. It's great. I will say this right now. If you do not read the manga and you go into this Alice in Borderlands and you see the ending of season 2, it will probably piss you off. I mean, I know some coworkers that told me to watch Alice in Borderlands and told me that the only thing they would hate about it is the ending, because the ending it's questionable. It's because it's a very kind of cop-out ending if you think about it. I understand why they do it, though, and I understand why it's so imperative for a season 3 to work, because without it, it doesn't make sense. But I will say the ending of it will definitely piss you off if you're just watching this live action and nothing else. Now, I will say this right now. The story's great, the characters are great, the atmosphere is great, the music's phenomenal. The voice acting, if you choose to watch it in dub, is good. I have no issues with it. Excuse me. I think the Japanese dub is a little better, obviously, because it just expresses details a little more. But other than that, it's actually very solid overall. I can't say anything wrong with it. That's why I'm going to say this right now. If I had to give Alice in Borderland, the live action, season 1 and 2 included, a review from A through F, I'm going to give it a B+. I'm close to A-. I'm very close to A-. Now, when season 3 comes out, here's what the fun part I'm going to do for you guys. I'm going to wait a little bit, obviously, when season 3 finishes airing. I don't know if they're going to do a whole thing where it's all shot in one section or not. If it is, I will kind of talk about it right there. If it's done weekly, you have to wait a little while, and then maybe I'll do a review for it. I then want to kind of do a progress of, like, did my review go up for the series? Did it go down, etc.? Because I do want to kind of review this thing as a whole. Because I think Alice in Borderlands, if you do, like, one season and review it and then do a second season review, it's not going to work. Because the first season ends on a cliffhanger. You need the second season. And the second season ends where it's definitive, mind you. But for those who read the manga, they know that there is a whole story that has to be told that hasn't been really dove into yet until you get to the new arc, which is going to be season 3, which is the sequel to the manga. If they do it that way. I mean, they could always do something else, because if you guys did see the differences, there are differences between live action and the manga. Obviously, some of the games are different, and some of the pacing's a little different, and some of the character relationships are different, obviously, because it's kind of works more in the sense of a live action adaptation. But depending on how they do it, is going to be where my rating of the series will go. Because if they make a whole third season, we'll say if it's not based off of the adaptations of, like, second part, I'm going to have issues with that. Only because I feel like you don't really need to go into other characters too much. I mean, there's plenty of characters that I would love to see more backstory on them. Like Usagi, which is like the main love interest for Arisu. I would love to kind of see some more backstory for her. I mean, we kind of see what she's all about in the story itself. She don't really need it, but it'd be kind of cool. And there's other smaller characters that I think would be fleshed out a little bit more. You could do a whole third season about them. But the sequel to Alice in Borderland needs to be done a certain way, because I feel like it helps with the whole story as a general. It helps with, like, the medium, versus if they do too much that's different from the adaptation, that'd be an issue to itself. So I'm like, it's a double-edged sword. Like, I feel like Netflix won't mess it up. We'll see what happens. Anyways, guys and girls, I hope you enjoyed this review. I will talk to you guys later. Until I pass across again next review, be sure to check out my links in the description box below. I have links to my Twitter and other pages and stuff like that. I don't have Patreon anymore, if that's obvious, from the video, in case you haven't seen that. I got rid of my Patreon. It's not that I don't want you guys supporting me. I just feel like I'm not giving you guys anything on it, so it's like it's no point for it. I don't want just free money. I'm one of those people like that. But guys and girls, I love you all. God bless you all. Bye bye.